Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're watching the State of the Nation here on the broadcast. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. In my company is the Deputy Governor of Mandera County, who joins us for the first time here on the broadcast. Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning, Ayub.
Appreciated. Many thanks for your company. And Professor Senator Kisumu County, also Senior Counsel, Professor Tom Ojenda, also joins us this morning. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
and many thanks.
You very much.
Shortly, we'll be joined by Senator Makueni County, Dan Manzo, and we'll be talking much more about the delegation that is party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and over 500 others will be today visiting Raila Odinga's grave, which is viewed both as a gesture of respect and a subtle assertion of opposition leadership. In that respect, he will be here shortly to respond to that. But first, let's begin with yesterday's events. Prof, coming to you first in Homa Bay County, and how the Ruto party is dealing with the ODM party's blackmail in caveats, says the paper. And to just quote what the party leader Oburu Oginga said interim, that if we have to go for a lower position, he said, it must not be lower than number 2. He meant the deputy president in any formation heading into 2027. That is my take, he said. We should not take less than that. And he was quoted. So, Prof, coming to you, ideally minus Raila Odinga, certainly it appears that the ODM party will have a stake, whatever happens in 2027. But how will the ship be sailing towards 2027?
Thank you very much, Ayub, and good morning to all Kenyans of goodwill and everyone else who's watching. I think, Ayub, let me take this opportunity to first condole and empathize with the families of the 34 victims of the landslide in Nembobut forest. And we have seen action by the CS Interior, Ichumba Murkomen, in physically and personally getting involved in the rescue mission. And I think we learned a number of lessons, Ayub, that the preparedness of this country for such a crisis perhaps should be better. We need to perhaps ensure that in areas where there is possible disaster, in areas where we've previously had landslides like in Nembobut, we've had landslides in 2019, 2020, we have had deaths, both on the side of Kenya, and I think the Ugandan side largely also had faced some crisis. But we need to advise citizens, people, not to live along valleys, especially when there's high precipitation, as we have witnessed in the last weeks, because the crisis that we have seen is very unfortunate, where people lost their lives, university students, school-going children, rocks flattening homes of people. And I hope that there will be a deliberate effort by government to move all these people to the high ground, and that CS Interior and PS Interior will action and ensure that Kenyans are safe. And we must be concerned about the safety of Kenyans in all walks of life. But secondly, you've asked a very crucial question. ODM, what next? Let me say this, and let me say this as a life member of the ODM party and the senator for Kisumu County. It cannot be gainsaid that the gravitational pull of Raila Odinga within the political sphere that has defined this nation for many years has led to an obvious gap in politics. And it is that gap and the stepping in of the wise old man, Senator Oburu Odinga, into the shoes of Raila, and the various views that characterize very many other political players in ODM that will define the change and the transformation and what I would term as the recalibration of the Orange Democratic Movement. And therefore, the various shades of opinion, including the views that have now been captured by the media from the party leader, my party leader, Dr. Oburu Odinga, stating that ODM will not go for a lower position than the deputy president, I think should be interpreted and not misinterpreted. Interpreted positively to show that what Dr. Oburu Odinga is saying, and by the way, Dr. Oburu Odinga is a friend, and we have had conversations, including a conversation after the statement that he made. And I think what Dr. Oburu Odinga then said and says is that his statement around the deputy president means that ODM should move to an election. If ODM is moving to an election in 2027 as a partner of the UDA party of the President Ruto, because ideally ODM is in the broad-based arrangement as supporting the government of the day. And ODM, through its structures, that is the National Delegates Conference, which is the NDC, the bigger body, then the National Executive Council, and of course the main committee of the party that then appointed Oburu Odinga will or has determined a number of things. And one of those is that it is in the broadest government until 2027. But there's support to work with this government beyond 2027 so that President Ruto gets a second term in 2032. So they are saying that for the period between 2027 to 2032, ODM would want to position itself in a pre-coalition agreement.
That is in the election,
in the election for pre-election coalition agreement.
To 2032.
To 2032. The ideal here, Ayub, and that is what the party leader is saying, that they will be seeking to deputize President Ruto in 2027. But as we know about political negotiations, that is a proposal from the party. It is not cast in stone. There are very many competing and influential positions in government, and depending on the numbers that will be negotiated, I am sure ODM, and the ideal situation is have a pre-election coalition agreement. A position, for instance, Ayub, like the CS National Treasury, is a very influential position. I do not think that the statement of Dr. Oburu, party leader, should be taken out of context to wit that it is a mandatory condition or term that ODM must take the deputy party leader position. I think that is just a view, that is just a position that they've given for purposes of going forth. So just see it as a party saying, if we go into coalition, consider us as a partner. And that is what Dr. Oburu is saying. Consider us as a partner in this arrangement. We go into the election together because ODM, and I say this again,
ODM Prof,
will form,
to get it right,
will be the next government.
The next government, your position.
And will form the next government.
In 2027.
2027, ODM will be in government with Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, who will get a second term.
I think what was the misinterpretation you talked about? Because he said that we should not take less than that specifically. So what will the arrangement look like in the next poll? Clearly,
a pre-election coalition agreement under the Political Parties Act will define the portfolio for each political party. That would mean if the coalition will include more parties than ODM, UDA, then ODM will define its stake within that coalition. But that would be a pre-coalition agreement. Now, the deliberate steps that I've talked about are that all these arrangements will have to be ratified or would go through the processes of the party echelon, which is NEC, NDC,
the party
and
structures.
the party structures. But as I've said, there's no brainer here that as long as ODM is, and it is in the coalition, it is in the broad-based arrangement from now to 2027. There's no way that ODM can be in that arrangement and then in 2027, without an arrangement, decide to spring up a candidate.
Okay, we'll talk more about also some of
the ODM will definitely
okay.
support President Ruto.
Yeah.
That I see, and that I can speak. I know there are many shades of opinion in ODM. We may have other people saying other things, but the truth of the matter is that from where I sit, ODM will support President Ruto for a second.
Okay. Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely having you. So we'll ask you whether you'll be part of the 500 or others who will be visiting Odinga's grave as the delegation to be led by our former Vice President, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. But welcome.
Yes.
Daktari, to you, what do you make of all this and how likely this is going to be panning out? Is it going to cause some political upset given the weight of Oburu Oginga's statements?
Well, Ayub, I certainly can see a lot of changes coming with the exit of the Right Honorable Odinga from the Kenya's political landscape. As many of us know, Kenyans, we have all grown up into Raila being probably the most influential, towering figure in Kenya's politics. And his exit has really caused a lot of probably apprehension, fear, unpredictability. But just based on that, based on the fact that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga exited the political scene, has really caused a lot of commotions at many levels in this country, both within government and within opposition, and even in our ordinary daily lives. And so it was right for ODM and Dr. Oburu Odinga to come out and being the new party leader, give a directive and guidance to the nation specifically and to ODM party to say that despite the exit of the Enigma, we are still there, we are still alive, and we are heading somewhere. So that statement alone was really to affirm the fact that nothing major, despite the heavy loss, has changed within the party. So we are still pursuing the agenda that was left by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. That said, I want to tell our good senator that although ODM is going to be in the next government, as it has been hinted in many quarters, we should also know that ODM is actually in the current government. Although they have not supported
the making up of
this government, but they're in the government, and they have taken some of the most influential positions. CS Treasury, as he said, is a major, within the cabinet and the country. So they're in government. That must be said. But also, if just before the exit of Raila Odinga, every sign was there from his handshake with William Ruto that one way or the other, Raila and the ODM party will be working with William Ruto come the next election. And so it's not really a surprise that Dr. Oburu Odinga will actually speak so boldly like that. And he of course, there are nothing is written on stone, but for him to clearly come out that in order for us to continue with the legacy partnership with Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we have to make it very clear that since we are supporting him for 2 terms, second term, then the only other thing that ODM could do was to take the second most influential position. And I think that was right. It came in timely, and it's part of really honoring Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga in as far as his partnership and working together with William Ruto's government.
Okay, Senator, again, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Lovely having you here on the broadcast. What do you make of Oburu's comments and how the reception is on the end of our current Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, which we understand has caused some concerns amongst members from Mount Kenya East, to be specific. How will the political pattern look like as we head to the next election?
Yeah, let me say that first I'm thankful that you have me this morning, and that those statements are well-meaning and not mean necessarily a deputy of William Ruto. One of the things you need to look when you are looking for a deputy president in Kenya, you must balance the country. So if the running mate of William Ruto in 2027 is going to be from ODM, then most probably that is going to be Hassan Joho, because you've got to balance. You see, the president and the deputy cannot come from one corner of the country and just 200 kilometers apart. You've got to balance. You know, these are some of the things you look when you are looking for a running mate. Yes. The feeling of power must be balanced across the country. So if Ruto is going to consider a running mate from ODM, then that's the most probable balance. The member of ODM then should come from the eastern side of the country or the coastal side of the country.
Why are you deciding
so that you have, but I'm just saying, most likely. And that's why you see the headline in page 7 of the National, the Nations is saying how Ruto party is dealing with ODM's blackmail. It could easily be a blackmail of some sort. ODM is a very strong party, we must admit. And the Wiper Party has worked with ODM for many years. We've been with them since 2012, 2013 elections, 2017 elections, 2022 elections, and not only just supporting, the Wiper supporters voted Raila Odinga overwhelmingly with many votes, you know, almost 100% vote going to Raila Odinga. And that's why you see this love. A lot of people from our party are going to visit Raila's home today and visit Raila's, family and condole with them. You remember this period was very brief, and there has been very many delegations, because Raila Odinga as a person is a towering figure, you know, a very powerful politician, very influential. You can see how his demise has caused shock into the country and has sent every political planner, including Agenda here, you know, to the drawing table. How
about your party leader?
Everybody, even my, party leader is there at the drawing table. William Ruto is at the drawing table. You have to begin afresh. It's like a big tower of politics have collapsed, and everything has to be picked again and rebuild afresh. And that's why you've seen a big shock, even also from ODM followers themselves. And everybody is still coming into terms with this situation. And I believe something good is going to come out of it. It is good for, I'm just wondering what could happen also if big-time people in ODM like James Orengo decide to run for president. It is a possibility. Because ODM is such a huge party, bigger than UDA by far, that it is the one which should actually provide the presidential candidate.
Why can't you say bigger than Wiper? Bigger than Wiper.
No, because you are in bed with UDA. We have been your partners and we are still your partners. We are still in the Azimio coalition. What happened is that Professor Agenda jumped ship and he disobeyed Raila Odinga a long time ago and went ahead to chart the path of the coalition they are having now, which, in my opinion, a lot of members in this, if you listen to Simba Arati, if you listen to quite a number of influential people in ODM, like Senator Sifuna, the Governor Simba Arati, and quite a number of them, they say, look, we must stick to the 10-point agenda. If you leave the 10-point agenda, we are not together. You see, our position is this. They are clear. The last directions of Baba are very clear to many ODM followers.
Okay, so let's listen to what Governor Gladys Wanga, the national chairperson of the party, said yesterday in the county of Homa Bay.
We will remain in support of the administration of Dr. William Samoei Ruto. We will remain inside the broad-based government, because that is what we agreed with Baba. And come 2027, ODM will either form government as a party or be part of the coalition that will form the next government of the Republic of Kenya.
Prof, does that forming of the government include welcoming Dr. William Ruto back to the party he helped form?
I think, Ayub, the statement by the chair of ODM, Gladys Wanga, is quite on point. But ODM will either form government as a party or be part of government through a coalition. And that is the coalition of ODM UDA. That is what the chair of the party is stating. Clearly, I think the formation, if ODM and UDA craft a coalition, that coalition will have a name, some form of name, and perhaps would have more parties than ODM and UDA. It could have other parties. In which case, it would be the style of a coalition political party, like Azimio that we have now between ODM, WIPE and other parties. And I think then under that framework, we could then have the president run under the banner of the coalition and have individual parties or individuals running for positions, political parties, run on those other political parties in the regions as the coalition will define. The coalition then can state, Ayub, that it can divide the country into bits and pieces and allow certain parties to field candidates in certain regions.
Zoning.
Zones. It can have then a zoning arrangement. But as Manzwa said, preceding all these arrangements will be the implementation of the 10-point agenda. I think the 10-point agenda is all about devolution. It's about respecting the Constitution. It's about restitution and having a framework that compensates victims of certain human rights violations. It's about ensuring that we incorporate youth in governance. It's about ensuring that the resolutions of the various dialogue or framework under the NDC are respected so that we are able to redefine governance in this country. I think that is very, very clear. And I think government or the UDA is on course to fulfilling some of the questions. Let me just mention this.
But Senior Counsel, all those 10-point agenda, having someone of your stature and the experience, we never needed all those 10-point agenda, is it, given the constitutional prescription provided and the just lacking goodwill, which was ought to have been the implementation of Katiba. It never was about men and women coming together to draw some 10-point agenda while the prescription was otherwise provided. Yeah,
I think the NADCO arrangements or the NADCO talks or negotiations have provided a platform for redefining and ensuring that we meet up some of the areas where governments have fallen short since the 2010 Constitution. And as we've seen, certain concerns around incorporating certain sectors of the country in governance, including youth, and also resourcing or empowering certain sections of society to deliver. We have, for instance, struggled with the framework of funding of universities, and we have seen now, and I'm happy that C.S. Ongamba yesterday with the
union representative,
Kusu and Awasu, have got into an arrangement where 50% of what is outside the 7.9 billion judgment that we are now all familiar with, arising from the 2017 CBA arrangements. At least now we will have payment of 50% by November. You know, I'm also a former scholar.
Yes.
I'm also
still a scholar.
I'm also a don.
A politician.
And next year, then we have the next financial year, we have the other 50%, which is by June next year. Yeah. And that's a good thing and a win for dons, because we also must ensure that dons are able to live a life that makes sense, the university lecturers. And we want our students back to the classroom. And I'm glad that Dr. Wasonga, who has now characteristically defined himself by his firm stand on the position, as they've agreed. I saw Grace and the Clary now say that by Monday, students should report. So what we forget is that out of 100 shillings that this country earns, 70% goes into servicing debt. And the education sector gobbles up to 628 billion. In fact, this financial year, 661, almost 700 billion, the budget. So we must also be considerate that government is doing everything possible. CS Ogamba, PS Nyangala must be commended for negotiating this and bringing this to an end so that our students go back to class.
Okay, Senator, thank you. So when we get back from the break, we have an hour to go. Senators and Mr. Deputy Governor, your hand was up. I'll start with you. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. We are back here on the broadcast with the State of the Nation. Stay tuned.